Back in 2018, an underrated gem hit the PS4. Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise was and is an excellent RPG with a solid story and a rewarding combat system. But the game did a good job at making the world and story accessible. I found the game to be rather awesome and it piqued my interest in the anime. I found that I had a similar situation occur with the new Fairy Tail game. I knew relatively nothing about this series other than that the game was going to be a turn-based RPG. I found myself quickly captured by its charm and quality. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you my review for Fairy Tail. Let's focus on the combat first. The combat is a turn-based battle system. Many of your attacks are centered around MP. You can use a basic attack which uses up 1 MP. The more interesting options are found with your magical abilities. Each of the several characters have a wide variety of attacks and moves. These all fall into the traditional movesets like large attacks, buffing the entire party, and healing your allies. The magic attacks require you to provide some thinking on how you want to use them. Many of these magic attacks will attack your enemies in different areas. For example, some moves will hit enemies in a column or a row, or the attacks will hit in some other shape. You can replenish your MP through different items along with defeating enemies. As you attack enemies, you will be able to do this super move where you can chain attacks against all of the present enemies. These chains become more powerful as you grow your bonds with your different party members. Then characters have their own power moves that will slowly charge up throughout the fights, and these can be used in one attack or used little by little as follow-up attacks with other characters. The battle system has enough ins and outs to make it feel familiar so that it's easy to get into, and unique enough to keep it fresh throughout the entire story. The game is also not light on content. There are plenty of side missions, discussions, and stories to experience if you so choose. Much of the main story has you returning your guild to its former glory. To regain the reputation, you must complete many different missions to improve your guild rank. Much of the side missions range from having some story to help provide context to the monster slaying, along with some outright kill quests. Completing these quests increases your rank, along with providing you with money and resources. At your main base, you can improve different aspects of it to provide you with different advantages. Depending on what you upgrade, you will be able to improve your party's overall health, have better crafting options, and much more. Each upgrade is like a mini quest where you need to go out and find a certain material to complete it or obtain it from an enemy. I do like the light building in the game since it provides you with another upgrade avenue and it fits the nature of the story. There's some light crafting as well. You can mix and match different gems that you find to enhance your character's abilities. As you improve your crafting options, you can better these items and make yourself even stronger. The game encourages you to try out the different characters through character-specific quests, along with giving you new characters continually throughout the game. There's a lot of options here to mix and match for your party. You can choose to stick with your favorites, but I do like that there are specific quests for specific characters, so you're at least forced to try out the entire cast. And you never know if you're going to find a new favorite. You can really get lost in the wealth of content provided to you. I very much enjoyed all the side stuff that it had to offer. The missions gave me some nice rewards for grinding out my characters, and the character-specific bond missions gave you some nice lighter moments to experience. The side missions and their approach can feel rather repetitive by design. Most of the side missions result in you fighting different monsters for rewards. While many of the quests are samey, I never got bored with them. The game gives you a lot of different things to work towards. add-ons, whether it's new character levels, guild upgrades, or some crafting. So the repetitive missions never felt like a chore. Along with all of this are different areas that you can visit and explore. Most of the areas that you go to are not that big, but they're big enough and they provide you with enough secrets to find. One thing that was most appreciated and unexpected is how you are rewarded with new areas even after beating the main game. When you visit Lucy's house, you get to enjoy some nice extras within the game as well. You can view some of the illustrations that you see at the end and beginning of chapters. You can view a character encyclopedia giving you some quick background information on each of the characters that you encounter. There's a story summary section if you want to revisit previous parts of the story. There's a cutscene movie viewer and a terminology log to help you out with the lore of the world. You can even revisit some of the Bond dialogue sequences if you want to experience those again. My favorite feature of this is being able to listen to all the different soundtracks from the game. Overall, Fairy Tail is familiar in its execution, but always enjoyable in whatever you are doing. Now let's get into the story. Like I said in my intro, I was coming into this Fairy Tail game as a complete newcomer. The game does a decent job at understanding the basics of the story, but it does feel like the story is more rewarding for people with some prior knowledge of this world. There are many moments later in the story that I found myself a little lost with, but the approach to the game allowed me to get swept up into these epic moments. This game definitely got me interested in trying out the anime since I enjoyed what I experienced here. The story has the expected moments of cheese that I would want from a JRPG, but it's also really charming and consistently funny. This cast of characters was really enjoyable to be around. There's everything from physical humor to characters being envious of the size of other characters' boobs, and the game does not shy away from showing its female characters in revealing outfits and bathing suits. Overall, I found the story and characters to be rather enjoyable and charming. The story is not super accessible for newcomers with no knowledge of this world, but you are given enough to understand the characters, their relationships, and get involved with the emotional and funny moments. There's a silly tone present throughout the game, and the game is refreshingly light. The next part is going to be a little odd for negatives with this game. One area that I thought was odd was the censorship update that was added to it. Essentially, the game blocks off any potential shots if the camera is tilted in such a way where you can see a character's underwear. Yes, I know this sounds perverted, but any of this stuff in the story is presented as playful and cheeky and more focused on getting laughs than making the characters to be creepy. So since the execution is more in line with this tone, I don't have a problem with them using camera shots or these parts in the game that deal with this stuff. I just don't see the point of censoring out some of these parts in the game where underwear can be seen, especially when you earn bathing suits for each of the characters and you can wear them throughout the entire game. A tiny bikini is not that much different than underwear. Censoring out shots of someone's underwear is a bit odd when I can have the girls in revealing bikinis for the entire game. For fans of the series, they know what they're getting into, and this censorship seemed like a way for the publisher to appease people that might get offended by this stuff. I say if this is going to bother you, then don't play the game, and the censorship is rather dumb. Now throughout the game you will earn some additional outfits for your characters, but the game has two $40 costume packs so that you can wear more outfits. This is insane and a bad move. I would have preferred if you could just earn these costumes through gameplay rather than having to buy them for a really high price. There are some aspects about the game that do show the game's budget in some areas. Generally the cutscenes and production are pretty good, but there are some aspects that make the game look cheap, with conversations occurring with no characters animated animated on screen. Some plot points are rushed past rather than experienced. This kind of stuff did not occur all the time, but when it did, you will notice it. Lastly, the soundtrack in this game is absolutely awesome. There are several tracks that you will want to listen to even when you're not playing this game. Here are a few tracks from the game. Overall, Fairy Tail is a really fun JRPG that brings enough charm and humor to keep you playing. The story is not the easiest to get into for newcomers, but the charming characters will keep you engaged. The gameplay is familiar with lots of side missions and different upgrades to earn. The presentation is generally good with a great soundtrack. This game was a pleasant surprise for this year, and I highly recommend it for any JRPG fans. Thank you very much for watching.